The night the old woman opened her door, she wasn't holding a candy bowl. Instead, clutched in her mud-stained, gnarled hands was a severed head, its eyes glassy and lifeless, its mouth agape, dripping something dark onto her tattered dress. We were just kids on Halloween, my cousins and I daring each other to knock on the chain woman's door, never imagining the true horror that lurked behind it, a horror that would soon spill out and forever scar our family. For years, holiday visits to my grandparents in rural Ohio meant passing her house, a weathered structure shrouded in unsettling aura. She was a colossal figure, over 6 feet tall, always adorned with heavy logging chains that clinked ominously with every movement. Her wild grey hair framed a face etched with neglect, and her habit of scrubbing her house's exterior with zealous fury, even in the rain, while muttering threats like "the devil's coming for you, you little brats," was the stuff of childhood nightmares. Her windows often revealed her shadowy silhouette, watching us. That Halloween, egged on by my older cousin, we rang her doorbell. Jarring thuds from within preceded the slow creak of the door, revealing the horrific tableau. Our screams pierced the night as we fled, convinced we'd witnessed true evil, though adults dismissed it as a crude Halloween prop. But a month later, the horrifying truth emerged. My aunt, returning home with groceries, and my toddler cousin was ambushed. The chain woman, silent and swift, attacked her with a rope saw, cinching it around her neck. My aunt's screams and my uncle's frantic intervention saved her life, leaving a permanent, jagged scar. The subsequent police investigation unearthed a nightmare, an elaborate network of tunnels beneath her property, leading to a dirt-walled shrine decorated with macabre symbols and, most chillingly, 3 real severed heads, preserved and stored like trophies. The head we saw on Halloween night was among them, fresh, identified as a missing hitchhiker. We had come face to face with a murderer. Her house was demolished, the tunnels filled, but the chilling memory of her watchful eyes and the casual display of death instilled a fear that never left me. Years before that terrifying discovery in Ohio, another Halloween, when I was 10, marked my first personal encounter with a different kind of darkness. As we decorated our yard with my friends, James and Curls, a man appeared, stopping directly in front of our house. Average in appearance, perhaps late 30s. But his smile, it was wide, unsettlingly so, devoid of warmth. He spoke to me then with unnerving casualness, asked about my trick-or-treating route. Before I could answer, my dad stepped between us, his hand tightening protectively on my shoulder. His calm, firm voice, "Can I help you?" cut through the eerie politeness. The man's smile flickered, then vanished, replaced by a cold, angry stare, before he turned and walked away. 2 nights later, a loud thud jolted me awake. Peeking through my blinds, I saw him again, standing partially hidden by the big oak, our scarecrow now fallen. He was just staring at our house, his gaze seeming to bore directly into my window. My heart hammered as I raced downstairs, but my dad, after checking the yard, found no one, though his worried expression betrayed his words. Halloween itself arrived, and despite my unease, the excitement called my friends and I, in our costumes, ventured out, wandering far from home. In a dimly lit part of town, a voice called out, "Hey kids, over here, I've got the good stuff." It was him, standing in a dark driveway, holding an empty candy bowl, that fake wide smile back on his face. James, sensing danger, grabbed us. "No, don't. We need to go." The man's smile dissolved as he dropped the empty bowl and advanced. "Run," James screamed. We bolted, his footsteps pounding behind us, growing closer. I risked a glance back. His terrifying, anger-filled face was fixed solely on me. As his hand seized my costume, a thunderous voice roared, "Get away from my son." My dad, a beacon of furious protection, emerged. The man released me, startled, and sprinted into the darkness. My dad, pale with fear and rage, held me tight, later explaining he'd driven out searching for us, a neighbor's sighting guiding him just in time. That night etched into my memory the terrifying reality that not all monsters hide in shadows. Some walk among us, smiling, years past, and I, now 17, believed I was more street smart, but a seemingly innocent Halloween taught me that some deceptions run far deeper. It began at a neighbor's gathering, where I met Jake, a 19-year-old who seemed cool. When I mentioned needing a pumpkin for my mum, he eagerly suggested Miller's Pumpkin Patch, 20 minutes out on Country Road 47, driving my mom's truck into the darkening evening. The road grew rural, enveloped by thick, disorienting fog. We arrived at Miller's, a dilapidated place. No lights, no cars, just pumpkins half hidden in the mist. "Where is everyone?" I asked, uneasy. Jake shrugged. "Wait here, I'll check." He vanished. 10 minutes later, he returned, but not alone. An older man, a farmer, stood beside him, his smile too wide, too forced. "Jake here says you need a pumpkin. Come on in, I've got the best ones inside the barn." Jake echoed, "Yeah, Mark. Let's go." But the farmer immediately barraged me with invasive questions. "You live around here. What's your family's name? What does your dad do?" It felt like an interrogation. Why inside the barn when pumpkins were everywhere? My gut screamed no. Feigning a text from my mum, I insisted I need to get back quickly. "Can we just grab one from out here?" Jake and the farmer exchanged a silent, knowing glance that sent a chill down my spine. The farmer shrugged, and we grabbed a pumpkin. The ride back was strangely silent. Later that night at my house party, Jake slipped outside after a phone call. 5 minutes later, our doorbell rang. A tall figure in a terrifyingly realistic human face mask pushed in, pulled out a real gun, and demanded our valuables. Panic erupted as my friends and I handed over our belongings. I saw Jake in the corner, tossing his wallet in, but his eyes were calm, devoid of fear. It felt staged. The robber vanished, and we called 911. Our outdoor door CCTV footage revealed the chilling truth. Jake, outside for his call, met the masked robber, without the mask on, conversing closely before the robbery. It was a setup, Jake confessed. The farmer was his uncle, a man with a record for theft. The pumpkin patch was a front to scout houses and gather information. The push to get me inside the barn, part of a plan to get my keys. The party was the main target. We got our belongings back, but the fear lingered. That Halloween taught me that the scariest things aren't ghosts. They're the calculated betrayals of people you think you know, and the quiet horror of realizing how close you came to becoming a victim in a real-life horror story.